You're listening to the New World to Go podcast with your hosts, Redbyrd and BDLG.
Hello and welcome to another episode of New World to Go. I'm your host, Redbyrd, and with me is BDLG and a special guest today, as teased before. We have Mr. Baggins on the show, dude. A long time coming. This is probably well overdue. Baggins, elite healer in the New World community. You know, also was a part of the dev event that happened this week. Baggins, great to have you.
Carry. Yeah, the absolute carry that carried the dead weight of Red and Denny.
Yeah.
Through the event.
I had to put down the healing stuff pretty early because I felt a little bit bad, but it's good to be here, guys. Thanks for inviting me, and sure that we're going to have a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Absolutely. Baggins, before we get started, dude, just tell people about where they can find you, about, you know, your content, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, sure. So you just BagginsTV on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Instagram, even TikTok. But I don't know if you guys do TikTok. I have one, but TikTok. I don't do anything there. Yeah. I've always thought New World TikToks would be kind of interesting. I don't know what you would do. Anyway, I've been creating on YouTube and Twitch for 6 years or something. Obviously, New World, the launch of that was something that just gripped me. I've been following it for a long time. Since the alpha. I don't know how long you guys have been on, but I knew it was going to be something special. And it turns out it was. It's, you know, had some hiccups along the way, but we've been following it on the Twitch, on the YouTube ever since, and doing a lot of healing content as well. So it's been a good time so far.
Yeah. I always try to tune into your streams in the morning, and you're out there healing, man. You're making the world a better place, and definitely, hard carry for the event. It turns out group composition is important in arena, guys. Imagine that. A healer does actually help to turn the tide of battle. So we're a pleasure having you on, Baggins. Again, long overdue. Huge pillar in the community. Also Caterpillar, right?
I would describe myself as a Caterpillar.
Why I said that, but all right, dude. Well, now that
the podcast,
thanks.
Man.
It's getting weird. I like it.
Yes, it's just starting, Baggins. So let's hop right in there with the news. Listen, professional Baggins doesn't talk during the drop. You love to see that. Guys, we got PTR, and what's not professional is I just completely jacked up the video side of the show. So good. That'll just have to be that way. We got PTR patch 2, and this one, I think was one that we fielded a lot of concerns about. And those concerns were addressed, or at least 2 of those concerns of the recent changes to the PTR and the May update have been addressed in this one. So one of the things, I know this is a little bit out of order compared to your guys' notes, but one of the things I think a lot of people were complaining about were the stamina changes and the dodging changes. And it turns out one of those was actually a bug, quote unquote bug. Light dodge distance was not meant to be shortened. So now the light dodge will now be as long as it was prior to the changes in the May update, but there's still the slowdown of stamina regen and of obviously everything that else that was changed. So what do you guys think? This is an interesting, I think, accidental bug about the light dodge. We'll start with you, Baggins. What do you think about the restoration of distance in the light dodge?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think if the dodges were shortened in distance along with the stamina recovery, and then also slows applying to dodges as well, it might be a little bit just too much. So I'm glad that was a bug, because it felt like, man, where the world was sort of crashing in on us, especially a lot of healers are going to be going in light armor now as well with the changes to heavy armor healing, RIP. So yeah, to know that one of them was potentially, is a bug, I think it's a good thing. I think we get the full length roly polies, and I'm happy with that.
Bordy,
Yeah, I would agree. I'm glad the Baggins shares the same opinion because I was about to have to disagree straight from the get-go right there if he didn't. So I'm glad you did, Baggins. Yeah.
You already called him a caterpillar, and not good.
Light Armor is like one of the funnest to play just because of the dodge roll. So if they make the dodge roll feel like worse, then that would be sad.
Yeah, I felt like whenever they added that change or the bug, I guess, to the game, whenever you got on the PTR and played, it felt overwhelmingly terrible. The light dodge felt horrible. And I was glad that they reverted that. And now you do have the stamina adjustment. I mean, if we're being real honest, like dodging in light armor, it is a lot easier to get away from people. Like that is kind of a weird meta. It's like this roly-poly meta with people rolling around everywhere. I think that's why people were complaining so much about it, is that there's just a lot of get out of jail free cards when you're in light armor. But I think with the stamina changes, that was enough to test the waters, and then without adjusting it anymore, right? I like the fact that they reverted that, and now it's just, or I guess it was a bug that didn't revert anything, but now it's back to how it was with the stamina change. I think that might be enough, and I'd like to see how that plays out on live before they do anything else to it.
Yeah, one of the things that would concern me the most about the dodge and stamina changes were, looking back at the fire staff and how that just kind of got nerfed into the ground, and they really hadn't done anything recently in that nature. They've taken things slow, and I mean that's evident with like the great axe always being powerful and stuff. But I was worried like they were too heavy-handed with trying to prevent the evasive meta that's currently in the game, and they made a lot of adjustments really, really quickly. And so it's nice to see that at least one of those adjustments was not intentional. Maybe I think still there might be some adjustments between now and when the game actually goes live, but at least this is a step in the right direction. Speaking of another thing that's plaguing live right now that won't be plaguing the upcoming patches, the Blunderbuss. The Blunderbuss got a heavy nerf. Just basically across the board, a lot of the damage abilities or the abilities tied to the burst combination with the Blunderbuss were reduced. So, Bordy, we'll start with you because you just wrote a 20-hour guide on the Blunderbuss one-shot combo. How does it feel to waste your time completely? And secondary, what do you think of the Blunderbuss nerfs?
Well, it always sucks, but yeah, as I was writing the guide, I knew it was going to happen anyway, right? You know what I mean? It's up there now, still available on live, so go look at the guide, and you can still use the build right now. But after this happens, it won't. I mean, I knew it was going to be a gimmicky thing. I keep telling everyone all the time on stream and everywhere else that like, yo, dude, I don't know why you guys are freaking out about the Blunderbuss. It's gonna get nerfed for sure. Like it's only gonna last a short amount of time. It's gonna get nerfed. And it did. And I think these are okay changes. It just leaves a question in my mind now, like, what are we going to use the Blunderbuss for? Because ultimately, whenever you use that one-shot wombo combo, man, if you missed or somebody got out of it, you were done, man. You were a sitting duck. You couldn't do anything else. Your cooldowns were blown. What else are you going to do? You got to run around until your cooldowns come back up. So I don't know. What else? I don't know what the Blunderbuss is going to be used for now. Like I don't. They did buff the net shot. I think they increased the damage from it, increased the slow duration a little bit. So maybe we'll see that getting used some more. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see how this weapon plays out now without the one shot, because I don't know where it's going to fit into the meta really now. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, Baggins, what do you think, man? The Blunderbuff now really, it's going to, I think, struggle to find a position in the meta. I tried PvE damage with it, not so great in its current iteration either. So what do you think about the Blunderbuss nerfs and where it kind of fits in?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, right now, like when I think of Blunderbuss or I see a Blunderbuss, it's like being used in the combo. Like that's basically it. I don't really see it anywhere else. I've used it like a few times, if I'm doing like a Tempest Heart or whatever, because the Corrupted take bonus damage from thrust. But even then, I think you'd still be better off like bringing a spear or just a great axe or something. It doesn't really, like you guys say, the whole sort of gimmick of the Blunderbuss is it does a lot of damage really fast. But if you take that away, it's got more to charge, I guess, to do just some big bombs, but you're still probably better off with like an ice storm or a fireball or anything else. So, yeah, I feel like they need something else. They tried to buff the net shot, like you guys say, to give it more of a slow, but I just don't know if that's going to bring enough to the table. I mean, maybe it'll be like more of a arena weapon and that'll basically be it. But even then, I don't know. It's gonna be a tricky one.
Even then, I feel like there's better options in the arena versus using the blunderbuss, though. You know, it's such a close range weapon. It's a little bit harder to land your shots. I don't know where it's going to land now. Maybe the problem is the sword and board combo that you use with it with leaping strike. Maybe that's what needed to be adjusted instead of the blunderbuss itself. But then you also have other combos that can do the same thing. I mean, people are using sometimes the Warhammer. I've seen that combo and it does work. Sometimes you can catch someone in a stun, but the sword and board was definitely the most prevalent. But yeah, I don't know either, man. I don't know where this weapon's going to land now after all this. It will be interesting to see. If I had to guess, I would say that it'll end up getting, some of these will end up getting reverted. It might get a buff to the other side of the tree with like mortar charge, etc. to I guess encourage people to use those abilities. But who knows, man.
I mean, they made that change on the PTR. There's diminishing returns on CC now. So if you get stunned, the next stun isn't as long. So already that might, I don't know, I haven't done enough testing on the PTR. That might have been enough to break up the combo, especially with a couple of pieces of freedom in there. Yeah, so it may be like a lot of things that we're seeing on the PTR. It's a bit heavy-handed. Now, I guess it's worth saying this is just the PTR, so they could walk some of these changes back, and I think they probably will have to walk a few of these back. I honestly just thinking change the ultimate from additional pellets 3 to 2. That's already like, I would just start with that, because this is one of the things that I'm seeing is like rather than just tune like one thing, they do like 3 things at a time, and it's maybe a little bit too heavy-handed.
Yeah, and
when you started doing, oh sorry, Ray, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and I think that's the approach that I think I would like to see them stay away from. You know, making minor adjustments and then kind of filling where that, you know, kind of puts the weapon is a way better effort than just nerfing something into the ground, because I think potentially with these current changes, I don't know if the weapon's useful at all. And you know, I think to Bordy's point earlier, you know, leaping strike and being able to set it up so efficiently is also part of the problem there too. So, you know, again, maybe a little bit of a leaping strike change maybe would have brought this back into check too, because that ability is insanely good at not only closing the gap, but causing a CC. So
it's so fast, dude. I'll just be like walking around and then, boom, oh my God, leaping strike, like just out of nowhere, out of the bushes.
Yeah. You made a good point with the diminishing returns in the CC though, Baggins. I tested this build after they made that change, and you can get out of it. If you just spam your dodge roll, you have to land it almost flawlessly. It is so much harder to land after the diminishing returns on the CC. It does make it hard. You can still do it, and it could still get pulled off, but it definitely made the combo a lot harder. So maybe that would have been enough. These are crazy changes that I think almost is going to render this weapon useless to most. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and I think maybe the better conversation was like the overall play style. Is that something they wanted in the game at all? You know, because you know one of the things that isn't fun about the blunderbuss right now on live is it's highly there's no interaction there from the defensive player standpoint, right? If you get caught in the combo, you're dead. It's basically there is no counterplay to that, and obviously leaping strikes strength plays into that. But you know, I think you guys are spot on. I think that maybe the CC changes were enough just to kind of take that out of the picture altogether. So we will see how that plays out. Obviously, I think we're going to see at least one, if not 2 more patches to the PTR before it hits live. I think a lot of us in the community think that the patch is probably going to be end of May. So that'll at least give a week or two to have some more adjustments there. Finally, and most importantly, guys, fishing trophies have been fixed. The fishing trophy, you know, you can now stack 3 major fishing trophies instead of you having to use 1 major, 1 basic, and 1 minor like all other fisher people had to do. Number one, it's just insane to me that people figure out this doesn't work. Like, how in the world, how many times do you have to go out fishing with all these different trophy varieties to figure out which one's the most optimal setup? I just usually...
Are they like making a spreadsheet of like,
exactly.
All right, I catch 1,000 fish today and this was the ratio, so I can see that I'm not getting this benefit when I'm like, how, dude? Man.
Yes, that's what they do. That's what they do. We have some hardcore eternal fishermen, man. It's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I've seen some high altitude fishing. It makes me, I don't know, I always feel a bit queasy when I see it, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not 200 even yet. I think I just these are interesting things, and I guess I struggle with this a lot because I get luck questions all the time, and it's like, you just hope that these things work, right? And I think now at least we know that the fishing trophies, or at least we assume that the fishing trophies are now fixed. So everybody go get 3 major fishing trophies if you're a fisher person. And if you care about catching legendary fish, there you go.
The question is, do you think that the luck trophies work now, Red? Is this making you question that? Because I know you spend a lot of time doing luck runs and stuff like that. Well, so yeah, yes, you got a spreadsheet you've been tracking?
I do. I track them on stream, and they're working fine. Baggins, I'm rich. I'm getting rich. It's working fantastic.
Good.
Luck is real, for sure. And so New World Update 1. That's all we're talking about, luck today, Baggins. I got to cut you off there. New World Update 1.45 hit live. Fantastic changes in here. I think the most notable one was the fix to Gravwell. Now, speaking of broken weapons, this is an argument I have on stream all the time as a mage. Has there ever been a moment where Great Axe isn't like literally S tier weapon? And it turns out it's been benefiting from a bug. Reduced the weapon damage of secondary burst of Gravwell from 125 to 100. It was hitting people twice instead of once. It obviously very strong CC, and then when you couple in Insatiable Gravwell not working properly, it just makes sense that this weapon has just been doing an insane amount of damage. And continues to be very, very potent. So at least here is one nerf to the Great Axe. Baggins, we'll start with you. What do you think about these Insatiable Gravwell fixes?
I think it's outrageous, guys. I think they need to buff Gravwell some more, make it 2 times bigger, put a silence inside of it, reduce all healing. Yeah, I think
very unpopular opinion there by Baggins.
No, I think Gravwell is. I mean, I was telling you guys before we started this podcast, I just got out of a war, and you bet your biscuits everywhere, just gravity wells all the time. So even with these nerfs, Great Axe is still. Don't worry if you're a Great Axe main, it's still S tier. It will probably continue to be S tier forever, seemingly, because like you guys say, since the inception of the game, basically it's been the. But at least it's just a little bit less insane, because it was like exploding 3 times or something if you had the perk, which is kind of crazy. So I'm glad they fixed that. I don't know, I feel like some further tuning could happen, but I don't want to say too much, because as soon as I mention like a Great Axe nerf, I get like attacked.
Half
like,
the community.
What about this? What about that? I'm like,
75% of the community is bruisers, so you got to watch out there, Baggins. One of the things, dude, honestly, I really think we're going to have to create a new tier when the next patch comes out above S. I don't know if we want to call it like X tier or whatever, but with the stamina changes and the reduction to mobility, who do we think is going to benefit from that? Well, it turns out bruisers seem to be pretty good about killing people that are close to them. So, it's obviously good that they fixed this adjustment, but it'll be interesting to see how they take over, in the new meta. Obviously, I think bows might be broken right now, but other than that, I mean, bruisers are the ones that stand to benefit most from the changes. So, at least the Gravwell is fixed. They did fix an issue here, and we have it. We have a great healer on the podcast right now. Healing hotkeys. It turns out when they were put in the game, they weren't working correctly, and now they are. So, what's your experience, Baggins? Have you had a chance to try the new the hotkey assignment system now that they're fixed?
I have indeed. Yeah, it's so nice. It is really, really nice. I feel like about 30% to 40% of my healing downtime, or if you broke up, like, this is me selecting the target, this is me casting the heal, this is me just a little bit of brain lag. A good section of my healing was me just cycling through the targets to find the person I want to heal, to actually heal them. So now we can reliably just press a button, it goes straight to that person and heals them. It doesn't like randomly select somebody else now. It's really, really good. The only thing that's tricky is just like sort of building it into muscle memory to remember like, okay, I need to press this button now instead of using the scroll wheel or mouse keys, whatever you would normally use. So, but it is much appreciated. I still want to see like a 10 more changes to healing, but it's a step in the right direction for sure.
For sure, and we'll just pass overboard. He's never healed a day in his life.
I never will either. Yeah.
Say. But what I will ask you, you are a bruiser. We'll double back to the great axe thing. What do you think about these changes to the great axe before we move on to the main?
I think they're fine, man. I mean, listen, dude, the great axe is. The great axe is the great axe, man. It's been one of the strongest weapons in the game since day one. Like, there's nothing like, as long as the kit on the great axe stays the same, I don't know what they can do to make it any like worse or not S tier. The kit on that thing is ridiculously good. It has been forever. I mean, it kind of does need a nerf, dude. Like, I play it, but I play other weapons too. I'm a spear hatchet guy. I play those too. I don't play just great axe, but yeah, man, I'm definitely in the boat of like the great axe is crazy strong. And whenever I hear people say like that it's not, it's just like, dude, you must be playing a completely different game than I am, because it's crazy. I recently put together a new build, specifically for OPR, so I could go in there and just maelstrom people to death. The first game I played, I went 27-2. The first game with this new build, because it is so easy to do. You literally it's all timing. You Gravwell a group of people, you maelstrom, and then they're all dead. Like, what? I mean, I don't understand why. Like, no, the great axe isn't strong, dude. You guys are playing I don't know what you're playing, man. You're not playing New World, because the great axe is crazy strong, man. So I don't know. I'm fine with it, dude. I think it's fine. I'm all for more balance, more competitive gameplay. The brainless, Gravwell Maelstrom thing, I don't know, dude. I'm not a fan of that style of play, so I'm glad, to be honest.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
I will say, just to make sure, the Grid X Bruiser mains who are listening, I also think Ice Shower is very powerful as well. So I know.
I do too. Yeah.
That also needs adjusting. But your weapon is very, very strong.
Well, it turns out it did get adjusted.
Yes, it is.
Because the PTR Ice Shower, not as potent as it once was, definitely has been brought into check a little bit with the CC changes for sure. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you put those two things together, and that's kind of where the meta's landed, is that Great Axe Ice Gauntlet build, and that just kind of shows you that those two weapons who have literally zero synergy statistically or attribute wise are extremely powerful together just because of the CC. So I guess we've harped on Great Axe enough, but yeah, the changes have been made. Go check out the new healing changes and the changes to Gravwell. They are live right now. I'm trying to look through the patch notes to see anything else significant here in these changes before we move on. Do you guys?
I'm gonna get yelled at on stream by a lot of people.
Fine, though. It's okay. Yeah. Better you than us. I mean, let's just write Baggins. If you direct all hate over to twitch.tv/BDLG.
That's fine.
He hates the Great Axe. He wants to remove it from the game.
We love the Great Axe.
Just get it out of there.
Yeah. No. All right, guys. Well, let's not waste time here and hop over to our main topic of the week. All right. Well, this week we had a event in the New World community, the devs versus content creators. It was basically to display the new or the main event or the main feature. Yes, feature coming into the May update, which is arenas. In case you haven't tried the PTR yet, the 3v3 arenas are up over there. They have, just a unique playlist. The mode section, you just go ahead and queue in through Outpost Rush, and you can try out these 3v3s. Honestly, it's something that a lot of people have been asking for, obviously, and it was kind of cool to see the devs compete in their own event. It turns out, Baggins, you were part of the event as well. So it's basically content creators versus devs. And I wanted to kind of break down, obviously, your opinion or your experience on the event. how it went, and then overall, I think the perception of events like this, and then of course, I think this was the first real. I mean, obviously, I think all of us have streamed arenas on our personal streams and going through the through the queue and everything, but this is like the first, I think, display from official New World stuff on how arenas go and how they work. So Baggins, let's just I'll have you talk about your experience during the event.
Yeah, I think it was good fun. It was maybe it's a bit behind the scenes. Before we actually went in and did the event, we were talking to the devs for a little while, and they said, listen, all right, you're not allowed to ask about XYZ, or this is not an event to break news. And then we started the event, and chat was like, oh, we want to know about this, we want to know about that, ask them about this, ask them about that. But of course, all the stuff that chat and the community wanted to know about was all the juicy gossip. And really, we're only allowed to talk about the upcoming event and showcase arenas. So from that standpoint, it was a little bit frustrating, but I get it. It was just supposed to be a bit of a spectacle rather than a way to break news. Nonetheless, though, it was fun to just like sit down and actually get to talk firsthand to some of the devs, and also do some arena with the boys, with Danny and you, Red. So.
Well, I will say it sounds like you have a nice inquisitive community. My community wanted me to teabag the devs and to kill them.
And you did. You fell into peer pressure,
listen,
bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, I peer pressure got the best of me for sure.
It did.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was a great event, well put together. One of the things I think we have two more coming up. I would love to see, obviously, it seems like we're getting more people involved in the community. One of the good things, at least this time, is that they are using people that play the game or that stream the game on a regular basis. I will say that. Obviously, nothing against like Asmongold and Rich Campbell and Shroud, but it is good to see some recognition in the directory for sure. Obviously,
what you just some recognition?
What did I say? Recognition.
I have no idea what you said, man. Some recognition. I don't know.
Good. I don't know what I said, but
it's a new type of currency you can earn.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Anyways,
we got it. We
understand. Okay. Good. I'm glad that we completely derailed there. So basically, one of the things I think that was interesting about the event was obviously it was on a closed server. They did give us a little bit of insight on the development of the game mode, potential lore that would be introduced later. They did give us, I guess, a little bit of insight to the voice actor and stuff like that. But
like a cool piece of information I got as well. It was we were in a little Discord with them, but now I'm looking for that Discord. I feel like have you been removed, Red? I think we've been removed. Oh. I mean, I guess it makes sense. They probably want to rotate in the next set of creators and stuff, but there was like a post in there, and I guess because it was information they were sharing. They were saying that some of the gear that comes from the reward track is they're not going to do this thing where they have like dexterity focus or like intelligence focus, strength, dexterity. It's just going to be like weighted to one stat, and then the equipment weight. So if it's heavy, it's more likely to be constitution or strength. If it's light, it's more likely to be intelligence or focus. Well, actually, constitution is weighted equally across all of them. But I thought that was really cool, and I was just looking for that information, but I can't find it now. So citation needed on what I'm saying there, but it sounded really awesome. Like they've started considering that when it comes to rewards that they hand out, because when you open up that Outpost Rush box or whatever, and you get just a piece of gear with Dex focus, and you're like, nice, I'll just salvage that. So that is a little side thing that it didn't really cover there, but I wanted to make a point of mentioning that because I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I didn't know that was a thing, and I'm glad that it's going to be, because you're right. It does kind of feel real bad whenever you get a piece that has maybe some decent perks on there, but the attributes are just absolutely terrible. You can't do anything with it. So at least this will give maybe a better chance at getting something usable out of there. I like that a lot. That's good to know.
And that brings up a good point, because I think the arenas is an amazing feature, right? It is going to be fun. It's going to be, obviously a good addition to the PvP community, but But what will it ultimately drive the player base to play the game mode, I think, is the rewards that are in there. They did the PvP reward track, is interesting. I think I think there's got to be enough weight in there to get casual people in there. Or otherwise, I think one of the fears of initial takes on the game mode is you might be queuing into the same 3v3 teams eventually. If the rewards aren't good enough. Bordy, I'll kind of let you lead this. Like, what are your thoughts on the current reward system in the arenas, and is that enough to bring the casual people in there to get face rolled by hardcore PvP players?
I don't know, man. It's a good question, because the rewards right now are so PvP focused. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a great question. Like, I think one of the things that allows people to go into OPR all the time is you get your gypsum every day, right? So a lot of people go run 2 OPRs every day just for that gypsum, and then that keeps OPR queues popping all the time. And then you see a lot of new faces in OPR too whenever you go in there, which keeps things a little bit fresh. You see a lot of the same faces in there too that just play OPR because they want to play OPR, but you do get new people in there from time to time, just because there's been queues on Ahono where I've been in an OPR where I really didn't know anyone in there, and probably because people were just in there to get their gypsum, and so it doesn't make it the most competitive aspect, but it also gives people a reason to at least go in there and play. So to answer your question, I'm not so sure it's going to, man. I think maybe what will end up happening is that you'll just have the real sweaty 3 stacks that end up playing arenas all the time without having the opportunity for other people to go in there and enjoy the game or get rewards they want. Because the people that aren't going to be real sweaty with PvP and just want to go in there and have a good time, they're going to be hard pressed to do that, I think, because I do think that there'll be 3 stacks that go in there that just dominate, and that's ultimately what the arena will play out to be until there's some way to separate out maybe casual and ranked. But right now I'm not so sure it's going to be enough, because the people that aren't really into that type of thing, like super hardcore, aren't really going to care about those rewards very much, I don't think.
Baggins, what's your take on the current PvP reward system?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because if I remember rightly, within PvP Arena, you don't really get any special reward that's exclusive to PvP Arena. In fact, you actually, like you said, with Outpost Rush, you've got Gypsum. There's also Umbral Shards, whether you win or lose. With Arena, I think it's just the PvP experience, I think.
It seems that way now. And to your point, you also get a case of gear in Outpost Rush as well.
Yeah, so right now, I think people will play it for like the first couple of weeks because of the spectacle, and it'll be fun. But then you're probably just going to be left, like you say, with the sweaty tryhards who just want to, perfect their strategy. Streamers like us who want to just do it for the content. But I think like for the standard player, they're like, well, why would I queue this when I could do Outpost Rush and I'll get Gypsum and I get Umbral and I get Gold and I get a box of items. And it's not all the pressure on me because there's like 19 other people on my team. Or you could just go do some PvP missions, which I think actually do give pretty good PvP experience, which I think is a good thing. They shouldn't take away from that. But yeah, maybe there does need to be like a little bit more reward for queuing into Arena in the long run. There's also going to be the problem that I think like the sort of player that would queue for arenas is also the sort of player that would queue for Outpost Rush. And since we don't have cross-server queues right now, people have to choose one or the other, and that's going to take people out of one pool to put them into another. So unless you're playing on a super busy server, that is going to be a bit of an issue in the long run, until they get the hopefully cross-server queuing involved.
That's a good point, Bordy. One of the things that I want to talk to you about, and to Baggins' point, is a concern is will having these instance. This will be now what I guess third, if you want to count expeditions, the third instanced activity in New World with this small server size. And, I don't know how much we want to go into this again, but our server, this is the third time that this has happened from now to launch. Our server is now completely dying again. And so, like, what does that effect have on this new game feature, arenas coming into that, and then having to compete with activities like expedition, outpost rush, open world content. Will arenas have the oomph on these smaller servers to keep going?
I don't know, man. That's a great question. And I think arenas might, because they're 3v3. You know, I think there's always going to be people queuing up for arenas. It takes so small. But my bigger concern there would be that Baggins is right. The same people that are going to queue up for arenas are the same people that are queuing up for OPR. So now you have this split community going one way or the other. So I do think on the smaller servers, OPR is going to be very hard to get into, because it takes, 32 people to make sure you're queued up there versus the 6 for arenas. So I think arenas will pop. OPR might not, until they make some sort of crossover queue or something, which hopefully that's coming soon, because it's also, man, it'll get kind of old, I think, playing against the same competition over and over and over in the 3v3 arenas, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's going to boil down to, I think. I think the people that want to do arenas are going to do arenas. After the hype wears off, I don't know that a lot of people are going to continue to do them, because there's not like a competitive leaderboard or ranks that you're trying to climb, or these just super lucrative rewards that you're after, or, you know, it's not like once you get to the end of the reward track, you get like, you know, something super special at the moment, which may be something they want to consider, is like, and I think maybe this might be where they implement something like seasons into the game, you know, like something like a battle pass or seasons into the game, so that if you make it all the way to the end of the reward track, you get a special reward. But the problem with that is that you get that reward no matter what PvP activity you're doing. So like Baggins was saying, you could go do PvP missions, you could go do all these other things, and so it doesn't set apart 3v3 arenas in that regard. So I don't know, man. I do think there is a concern with the game modes whenever you start splitting them up so much. We've seen this happen with ESO. Whenever we're playing ESO Red, there was several different options for PvP, and so then the sewers just came. It's super fun. Like the sewers, probably some of the most fun PvP I had in that game, to be honest. There was so much fun.
The
it was an
Imperial
event
City.
that just, the sewers were popping off, man, and it was a lot of fun. And then after that event, dead. Nobody went down there. Everybody played Battlegrounds or Cyrodiil, completely dead game mode. And it was just unfortunate. And it was because they didn't offer enough incentive to play that game mode. And so I hope New World doesn't fall into that trap. But with the small server size that's happening right now, and then everybody transferring off, like you said, Ahono is like, dude, it's everybody transferred off of there, you know. And it's I don't know what the answer is other than crossover queues, and I hope they can implement that quickly, because I think that's the answer for staying competitive, for getting constant queues. I think that has to happen.
Yeah, I think it's like one of the biggest, like, I imagine they are like focusing a lot of resources on it, but that's like what New World needs for that long-term longevity, is just as soon as they get crossover queues, it like that problem of being on a dead server isn't that much of an issue anymore, because you can queue for people from other servers. I do think with the arenas and the PvP reward track, that it's, you know, trying to remove both of them, because they're coming together, but they don't necessarily, like, you can get some really, really good rewards from the PvP rewards track. I was taking a look earlier today. There's it's called the Champion's Amulet. It's 25 Constitution with health, stamina recovery, and refreshing evasion. I'm like, oh, dude, that's maybe best in slot for me, at least. And you get that from the rewards track, but you don't necessarily just have to do PvP arena for that. Right. I think one thing that we haven't mentioned, that you know, the silver lining of arenas that doesn't, you know, you can't, there's no comparison, like Wars and Outpost Rush. If you want to take part in PvP as a low level player, Outpost Rush, not an option. Wars, pretty unlikely. But you can, the devs did tell us, there's level brackets from 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49. So, and the way it works is you'll only be playing against other players within that level bracket. So I think that's going to be really cool. I don't know how many level 25 players are going to be queuing up for Arena. Not too many currently, but in the future, you know, if more people are coming back to check out the game, or returning players that just, you know, logged in for the first week and they could queue up some Arena, I think that'd be a lot of fun for them.
Well, and I think that's that is a good point. I think that feature, it concerns me that it might even be a turnoff to new players when they try to, you know, they're available to queue for arenas. You hit level 20, it gives you a notification, hey, you have access to this new feature called arenas, and then they hit the queue button, and then they are in a 5-hour queue because there are no level 20s to enter. That could be a concern, but obviously that gets better, or at least more probable to get those matches if they get the cross server queuing figured out, which I think at this point is like, I think one of the biggest barriers to New World's growth, and we talk a lot about this, Baggins, and I'll involve you, get your opinion on this. One of the things that makes it challenging as a content creator in the New World space is the server thing. Having access to play with everyone in the community. The servers are so small that basically, you have these barriers of entry on who you can play with and who you can run expeditions with and who you can do activities with because of the server thing. And I think that particular problem is going to be, again, it's going to stunt the success of arenas and expeditions and everything until those get figured out for sure. So what's your take on the overall server, the server system and how it kind of affects New World's player base and growth?
Yeah, thankfully they got the transfers in, I guess, fairly recently in the grand scheme of things, which does help a lot because you can now get to where you want it. You're not stranded on this little island server just waiting for them to merge or something. But I do strongly agree, and I assume within Amazon Game Studios that it is like a really high priority to get cross-server queuing in ASAP because it is it's going to be one of the things that I honestly think it's like whether the game lives or dies is if they can get that in sooner rather than later because it solves so many problems that the servers currently have. And if they want to keep adding more stuff like this, they want to add more arenas, like a group finder and stuff like that, any other form of instance content, the more queues there are, like spreading out this, small pool of players within a server, because the server cap is only 2,000 players, which I think you guys would both agree in terms of like other MMOs, that's not a lot of players for a server. So if you only have 2,000 players to draw upon for like all of your different queues, they need to, they need to, if they could draw upon the whole player base rather than just the server player base, that's going to make things move much quicker. And it also means things like matchmaking as well, because I feel like that's just out the window right now. The idea of doing like matchmaking within a server's player pool is going to be really tough. But if they have cross server, it's much more likely that they could do something like that.
Yeah, and really we're kind of in the age of super servers, and it was interesting choice and development for New World to kind of go in this direction with the not only just like servers in general, but small servers, and yeah, it is making it challenging, I think, as they implement these new features into the game, especially like you said with instance content. One of the things I did want to discuss, we'll get back on the topic of arenas, is composition. One of the things I think that it's important for players to know and see, and I think it played out in the dev event, which was the importance of composition in 3v3s. And how that kind of was displayed during the event. Baggins, I'll let you go first. What do you think about, as we got that, I would say they were competitive matches. The devs obviously, we went head to head. They didn't necessarily, they said beforehand, spoiler alert, they didn't practice a lot together. But what did you thought? What were your thoughts on like the overall composition of groups and how that kind of plays out in arenas?
Yeah, I'm excited to see, or like at least from what I feel, healing isn't necessarily dead. I think bringing a healer into arena is still a viable strategy, especially with the blunderbuss nerfs looming, because that was like one of the things that like, you just couldn't heal through basically, like insta kill somebody. But we saw like later on through the rounds, like Mike started off with like sword and shield Warhammer, and he was like full tanky boy basically, and it wasn't really doing anything. We also had like a pseudo tank as well, like Danny was tanking, but he was like a bit more of a bruiser. And I think that's really where the line is going to be, like having a bruiser, some sort of glass cannon, and a healer, or potentially like 3 glass cannons as well is also viable. I think it's going to be like pretty fun. It's going to be kind of weird. People are going to try and run a lot of different things. What the overall meta is going to end up being, like what's going to be, will there be like one combination of like 3 builds that's just going to be unbeatable? Or will it be more like of a rock, paper, scissors? I'm not entirely sure. But so far, it does feel like you can run a lot of different things. Bow spear in particular. I know you were using Great Axe Spear, right, Red?
Yeah.
How were you finding that was working for you?
Well, again, kind of leaning on the Great Axe, the power of the Great Axe CC. But one of the things that and this kind of plays into your glass cannon theory is like the spear just puts out so much damage. It just applies pressure to groups and play individual players. That was kind of the combination I was leaning on. But one of the things I think is prevalent, in these arenas is we did have like some preparation. Me, you, and Danny did. I don't know if we ever exposed this to the devs, but we did have a couple practice sessions beforehand and planning in your group composition and working out those things like we did, I think is extremely important for the success in the arenas. Bordy, I know me and you have played a lot of arenas as well. And kind of, has some experience in like the solo queuing. Me and you have queued just two of us, and then obviously queuing in a 3-stack. What is your like overall opinion of composition and in arenas and how that plays out in the overall, I guess, results when it comes to winning and losing?
Yeah, I mean, I think Baggins is onto something what he said. I think like a bruiser and a glass cannon and a healer seems to work pretty well. We have seen in glass cannon just a 3-stack of glass cannons work pretty well. I think he's probably seen a lot of the same stuff we've seen over there as well. But the problem is it's very, very hard to determine what the meta is actually going to be on the PTR because no one has good gear. You have crap gear. Right. You have such bad gear. Nothing has perks on it. So I was running a bow spear in there. My bow had like hated beastbane and some other. I think it had like I don't remember what the other perk was. There were 3 completely useless perks. And so it's like my bow hits like a wet paper sack. So it's like it's hard to determine what exactly the meta is going to be, but I do think the strategies that Baggins was laying out are all going to be probably viable. I obviously think Great Axe is going to get used a lot of there, and I think Spear is going to be a weapon that we see a lot in there. It just does a lot of damage, and then for ranged, I think Bow is gonna probably win out. But I don't know, man. We'll see. It'll be interesting. The arenas are fun though. I have had a good time in there. I just hope that they can do something to keep them interesting for the long term. But what I've played, I've really enjoyed them, man. I'll be spending a lot of time in them whenever it goes live, no doubt.
Yeah, so one of the bow is like I guess a discussion topic before we close this up here. Currently, Baggins, I don't know what your opinion on the bow is in the PTR, but dude, I think if we're looking at weapons that potentially need to be brought into line, the bow is extremely strong in arenas right now. I can't remember. It wasn't Mike that was running bow.
It's Patrick. I think
Patrick
he was using both.
He was literally
like
one-shotting
threat. That was he was hitting me so hard, dude.
So what are your thoughts there? Of the bow has obviously had its light, its place in the limelight in live. But it's kind of making a comeback in arenas, or particularly in PvP in the PTR right now. What is your take on bow at the moment?
Well, I think to go back to what Body was saying, that we don't have very good gear on the PTR at all. And I think one of the things that bow generally leads into is big crits, and you barely have any resilient. However, when we got to play on the dev build, they did give us some really, really juicy gear. Man, I still think about that gear sometimes. And we did have a full set of resilient, and Patrick was still hitting me for like 6K or something crazy. It was pretty insane. So I don't know what they should do, because I feel like if I say they should walk it back, I'll be sad for the bow users, because I just feel like they've had like nothing for such a long time. If like they get a little chance to shine, that would be nice.
Yeah. Who would like to talk to you, Baggins, is the hatchet users.
That's wrong.
Bordy, there's one sitting right beside you right now. Yeah, but Bo has had a pretty rough go for the most part.
I think just go with it for now. We'll see what happens. I still feel like it's not going to really see too much use in like wars and stuff, which people would argue is the most important content, because it has such a big impact. It just does damage, but it doesn't do enough CC or anything. So yeah, I'm gonna cautiously say that like go ahead with it for now. Maybe they need to look at like the hitbox sizes or whatever, like keep it more of a skill weapon, or a either buff its damage or buff its ease of use. But buffing both of them is kind of spooky
at the same time.
Yeah. I'm a terrible bow user, man. I played it on live for a while. I was absolutely atrocious at it, but then on the PTR right now, I land almost every shot. It's so easy to hit your shots on there, man. It's crazy. I noticed a huge difference playing the bow on the PTR versus playing it on live. So I would agree with that. Like buffing both of those things at the same time is pretty scary. But yeah, we'll see how the bow plays out on live. It's interesting to know that you had a bunch of Resilient on there, and he was still tagging you that hard. So I was thinking Resilient might mitigate a lot of that, and but it doesn't sound like that it was.
No,
yeah. I was in light armor though, but it's still it was like exceptionally big hits.
Yeah, I died at 5. I think I watched one of the VOD back, and I died at like 5.5k health to 0 from the and I had full Resilient freedom. Yeah, I mean, it was like crazy.
It's not to. I don't know if it's like to be mean to Chris on Mike, but Patrick was definitely like that was. If we were gonna die, it was generally Patrick's doing.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's him or the bow or both, but yeah.
Well, shout out to the devs. Okay, they did a great job. Obviously, 0 practice on their end.
Also, we were playing on EU as well, like, which was very nice for me and Danny, but like for you guys, especially for them on the West Coast, like, man, that's gonna be really rough trying to get things to connect like that. But they took some rounds off us, and it was a good time. I'm really happy they did that. I'm glad there's gonna be like more of them as well coming up this week.
Well, and
they were really good sports about it too. I enjoyed watching it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike. Listen, man, and nothing personal.
You should get banned for the game forever.
I feel terrible for doing it. I got double dog dared to dip on you, and I love you, and I don't want you.
Are you 13?
Well, listen, man. Peer pressure, it still affects adults everywhere. So
apparently so, man.
I just happened to fall victim of it that particular moment in my life. But yeah, it takes a lot of cojones to get in front of the community as developers and play people in PvP. So a shout out to them. Obviously, I enjoy that they are interactive with the dev events. With the I think we're getting well. He said this on the stream, right? I might be like leaking something.
No, it was in the private call.
What?
It wasn't when we were live to the this was during muted time.
What the heck, Baggins? Okay, fine. Well, let's just put it this way. Well, I look forward to more dev update videos with the crew.
More of this. It's really good to see from them.
Yeah, it's nice to see them interacting with the company or the community. Shout out to my boy Bordy. He'll be in soon. I hope so. Maybe
one day.
Yeah, one day.
I don't know if they've chosen the 26th yet, right? They've got Ginger Prime. But...
Yeah. Are you the other Ginger? Are you Ginger
Maybe.
Minor? Ginger? What?
Maybe.
Yeah, what is it? What the fudge? I just like that is not major, minor, prime. What are you? What is the numeric?
I don't know, man.
What is the numeric? Okay, prime numbers, and what are the other non-prime numbers? Is that the thing?
I don't know.
Ginger non-prime.
I don't know, man.
Even ginger odd.
What's happening?
I don't know, man. I'm just like drawing a blank.
He's off the rails, dude.
Yeah,
he's gone wild.
But yeah, overall, I thought the event was fun. Obviously, a pleasure to be a part of, and yeah, I hope they do more like this. I look forward to this week's version of it as well.
Another Twitch drop as well, which is cool. One for each week.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick.
Interesting that
before we wind up here. This is a unique. Each week there'll be a 48-hour window which you can earn these live drops that will not only give you things like PvP salt and things that you'll be able to unlock once the May update happens, but this is the first time that they've actually rewarded in-game gear as a Twitch drop. Now, we're so accustomed to cosmetics. We'll start with you, Bordy, but these cases actually drop PvP gear. So what do you think about them introducing this as a Twitch drop in New World?
I mean, I think it's ultimately fine. It's not like they're giving away anything that gives you like this. Just like I don't know, man. It's a honing stone, some oak flesh, but like it's nothing like insanely wild, you know. So I think it's fine. I think it's just kind of a good nod towards getting ready for the PvP event. I personally don't have a problem with it, you know, as long as they don't go overboard with giving out these types of items. It's not like you're not paying money for it. You're not doing anything. You're just watching a Twitch stream. It provides engagement to the community. I think it overall kind of helps exposure for the game. I mean, look how many people were in the directory whenever drops were active. You know, it goes crazy. People love drops, and I think these give players actual valuable items that they're going to use. I don't see a problem with it. As long as they don't take it too far, you know?
Yeah. What do you think, Baggins? Okay to give PvP armor in Twitch drops?
Man, I have a lot of questions, and I don't have any answers. Like whether the armor that comes out, if it scales to your expertise, your gear score, is it going to give you like some intelligence pieces? Is it always just going to be constitution? Will it be heavy, medium, light? What like?
But I thought that was just random? A skin. That's not a skin. That's
actual armor. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't know that. I honestly thought that was just a skin this whole time. That's actually PvP armor.
Yeah.
3 random pieces of exclusive PvP.
I don't know about that
with higher rarities and PvP centric perks.
That's why I was like, you just completely glossed over the question, but I figured.
No, because I thought you were just talking about
trying to put Baggins on the spot.
I thought you were talking about the potions and consumables. Yeah, I don't know about that at all, man. If it's completely random, I thought that was a skin. How did I not know?
I thought it was a skin too until
I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. No, dude, they can't do that, man. That's terrible. What if somebody gets a piece of gear and somebody else gets something that's trash, man?
Yeah, if you get like resilient, freedom, refreshing, 600 gear score with constitution, and somebody else gets like just they don't get look. I mean, I don't know. Is it always going to be 600 gear score? Or is it going to be 595?
I did not know. How did I not know this?
I'm fine with it as long as that person's me.
That changes my opinion. That changes my opinion wholeheartedly, dude. That's a terrible idea. I hope they don't.
What I will say is it's definitely worth watching the streams to make sure you get the drops, because holy flip, that's 9 pieces of gear you can get from all 3 choice drops. So maybe it's likely you get at least one good piece of gear out of that. Whether it's a good idea, I don't know. But
hey, man,
I don't know, man. Yikes.
I just want my armor from the event. That's all I'm asking. That's not
looks
too much.
Cool, like cosmetically. I don't know, you guys seen the image? It looks pretty cool.
It looks incredible. That's why I thought it was dude. I can't believe I didn't know that. I thought it was a skin this whole time, man. Oh my gosh. Okay, so wow.
So a little bit unique take on drops there for the arena event and the May update for sure. I've fielded this question probably 100 times, just as much as you guys have, I'm sure. When they're going to actually be live. And I don't think any of these chess guys are going to be available until the May update. So you're not getting PvP Salt, an item that isn't even in the game yet before then. Which Baggins, I'll touch base with you. You think it's going to be into May too, right? I mean, I think that's kind of obvious.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm calling it absolute last day of May. We're going 31st of May.
Well, okay.
Yeah, Tuesday.
All right,
I mean, I feel like
I actually
February
agree with that.
and the March patch were also like the literal last day. So
they've done it before.
Honestly, I don't mind too much if it means they get to do like more testing and like they get more feedback and try and make it as perfect as possible. Then go for it. You do you, Amazon. The March patch was really good. You did it literally the last day, but it was a really good patch. So hopefully we get another one of those.
Well, I think it's so crucial for this patch to be good. That take as much time as possible testing, because arenas, if something is broken in there, then it's not going to be great, especially with the new game mode at stake. I
think there's going to be quite a bit of interest from people coming back to check them out as well. So if they come back and it's all like broken and stuff, like lol, new worlds, and then they just put it back on the shelf again. So
Yep. Real quick to close it out. It's interesting to see. Obviously, this is one of the most requested features in the game, right? Arenas was, since launch, that's one of the things that people really wanted in the game because of, I think, how good New World's combat is, how it feels, and I think the idea of this smaller PvP environment to have a more competitive stake in the game. I think one of the things that I know BDLG agrees with me on this point, is like one of the things that really I always find fun in games like New World is putting myself up against like other players on a small scale environment and then testing yourself and how well or how good you are and how you can improve and get better. And although, you know, I love just completely laying down AoE after AoE on large groups of people and having zero impact on a fight and statting my OPR numbers to where I can brag about being number 1 in OPR. I look forward to arenas and having, that was a shot at some people, but I really look at I look forward to having this opportunity of competitiveness for sure in the game. Baggins, what do you know about stat padding as a healer? You guys never do that, right?
Yeah, no, never. Just put the sacred ground and the beacon and the orb just on the point, and you just roll around until you can do it again. No, I think I strongly agree. I think 3v3 arena is going to be really good for the game. It's something that I've wanted for a while because the devs say it themselves, but like small scale combat in New World does feel really special. Like I enjoy wars, but man, it's a bit hectic a lot of the time. There's just so much stuff going on, and like especially from a healing standpoint, like trying to figure out where my team is. Like I'm pretty sure every healer knows this of just pressing map to open up, like, oh, they're over there, and then you go over there and like, oh, now they're over there. Whereas in arena, I don't lose track. I never lost track of where you and Danny were because it's just 2 of you. So yeah.
Well, and Danny just stands in the same place.
I'm looking forward to a little bit of a different PvP experience other than just a big Zerg. Put stuff on the point and then just wait for cooldowns again. You know, it's actually going to be a little bit more strategic on a smaller scale.
Bordy, I
couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to add to that, man. I mean, I'm a small scale PvP guy. That is where I love to be. I don't particularly enjoy large scale like Zerg PvP or like 50v50 combat. I like the wars in New World, but not exactly my cup of tea. I am very much a small scale PvP guy. So the 3v3 arenas are going to be that's going to be where I live for a while.
All right. Well, that about does it for the overall arena conversation. It's a good one. Again, we have more to come. Hopefully, we'll see another PTR patch soon, and we'll have more to talk about on that topic. And then obviously we'll have another dev event this week. It was Thursday. It'll be on the 19th. And this week's event has, let's see, I got to do this from memory because I'm just literally pulling this out of thin air. It's Cat Conte. It is
Towley and Technique.
Towley and Technique. There we go.
Yeah.
I knew 2 T's, but definitely are Towley and Technique. So there we go. And that'll be on the 19th.
They're playing against Dave as well. Who's like a creative director. So if anybody could answer some juicy questions, it'd probably be him. He'd be the one that can give the permission. So we'll see.
But Greg he'll chastise him.
Yeah, Greg.
We know how Greg
keep him in
is.
check. He was in Discord all the time. Like, shut up, stop talking. Yeah. He
threatened my life at least once during the event. So yeah, shout out to Greg, friend of the podcast. Well, let's it'll be interesting. Don't forget to tune in. And again, these drops don't last long. So make sure you're either watching the event or hanging out in Baggins stream, BDLG stream, my stream to get these. Definitely not Danny's stream. I want to preface that.
Not him.
Not Danny. Us three.
He's in France right now, apparently.
Yeah, he's filming something. Imagine having a real job. What a loser. But yeah. So yeah, basically, don't forget to drop because they do cut off that event at 48 hours, so you will completely miss the chest drop. Which
you won't get to find out what's in the box.
We cleared out. It has PvP gear in there along with Azov Salt to help you pay.
Who would have thought, dude? I can't.
Well, not you, obviously. You had no idea. So
we changed Bloody's whole day. He's gobsmacked.
It did.
Yeah,
it did. I read it right now. 3 random pieces of exclusive PvP focused gear with higher rarities and PvP centric perks. I had to go look at it because I didn't believe you guys, and now I do because that's absolutely insane. It's crazy.
It's gonna be fun. Like a podcast a few weeks from now where you guys talk about what came out of your boxes. I'm excited to hear.
Yeah, I'll get my first ever BIS piece out of one of these. It feels bad because I've spent millions on crafting. So it turns out the joke's on me. All right. Again, Baggins, thank you for joining us. We're going to slide over to the company of the week. All right. Well, again, video problems here. Bordy, take it away with this week's Company of the Week.
Yeah, this week's Company of the Week is the Keepers of the Spark. They're an EU company. Hey, Baggins, there you go. You ever heard of Keepers of the Spark? They're a Covenant company. It says that please be aware that Keepers of the Spark are currently full. Oh, rip, dude. But they're accepting Covenant players to join the Discord, hang out with us, and attend their social events, etc. So whenever space in the company becomes available, they're going to be the first to hear about it. So if you're interested in joining a very large company, sounds like, go check them out, Keepers of the Spark. It says they have a very friendly and welcoming community, and they're open to players from all walks of life. So it says they're doing all the content in the game, PvE, PvP, crafting, gathering, dungeons, everything you can think of. It even says they're doing a little RP. So if you're into every aspect of the game, want to hang out with some cool people, some fun people, and you want to be a filthy Covenant, feel free to go join Keepers of the Spark.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if this is I might have said this before. This is a Magic the Gathering reference. Spark is a what is it? Let's see. Oh no, I'm drawing a blank again. Planeswalker. That's how you determine if you're a planeswalker or not, Bordy.
New World Law. The Covenant, they protect the Spark, which is like the life force of a tournament. Come on.
Okay, it's possibly that too.
Yeah, that's the reference I was going for. I didn't go to. Yeah, okay, I didn't go where your head was, Red. Yeah.
Okay, I'm wrong. You guys are right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Baggins, again, awesome to have you, dude. A long time coming. Why don't you one more time tell people where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, for sure. Once again, it's BagginsTV on Twitch, BagginsTV on YouTube, BagginsTV on Twitter. Just search for BagginsTV, and hopefully I'll show up. Not Baggins, because then you'll get the hobbits, but put the TV at the end, and you'll find me.
Might end up.
You don't want to see an accidental bill, though. It's bad.
Yeah, yeah. So BagginsTV again over on Twitch. A pleasure having you, man. And again, it was a pleasure fighting alongside you in the arena event. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll have to make this a regular thing, dude. Obviously you're a caterpillar in the community, and we love having you on, dude. Thanks again from me and BDLG for everybody listening to the podcast, supporting everything we do at Studio Loot and NewWorldFans.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you another episode of New World to Go.
Bye.